All right, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Tacos en Europa. I am Jorge.
My name is Edgar.
And we're here to talk about the game we just witnessed, which was Mexico versus Costa Rica in the Gold Cup. We're talking about the major team now, not the sub-23 that we talked about yesterday. But, okay, we had the little preview before. We kind of saw what we were expecting a little bit. I think we were both expecting a little more than we saw. But before we get into it, we want to invite you guys to obviously follow us on social media. We're everywhere. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Reddit. We talk a lot of people on Reddit. We're on Threads now. If you guys have a Threads, follow us there. We're on there now. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube and any podcast platform. Just look up Tacos en Europa anywhere, and you guys can find us. Just subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you think about the show. We read everything, and we talk to everybody. All right, guys. Let's get into it, man. Costa Rica, Mexico, we win with a 2-0 lead. I believe your prediction was 2-1. Mine was 3-0. What do you think was a closer one?
Before the 60th minute, I think mine, Costa Rica really put up a fight in the first half.
Yeah.
By the second half, they started to run out of gas, I feel like. And Mexico was being a little careless, especially on the right side of the defense. So I think Costa Rica could have scored. Memo even stopped a couple of great shots. One in particular was a great stop by him.
Yeah, and then in the second half, after we scored the goal, which was kind of late in there, I do think we were closer to 3-0 than the 2-1, but because Costa Rica didn't look like they were going to score. That's the only reason. Because not at one point did I believe we were going to get a third goal. Like, after, I didn't even know we were going to get the second one. So it was just, I call it a morally 1-0 win, because it was pretty much like a 1-0 and everything but name to me.
No, and especially the penalty was a little sketchy, like it was... I have heard people call it la penalito. Some people call it or a soft pen. You know? So I didn't like to win like that. So the second goal really I hope it puts the conversation at ease.
Yeah, the second goal and also the strength at the back. Like we were really good defensively. We didn't allow anything. I think there was a little mistake somewhere, but other than that. There was no doubt that we were going to get that zero.
You see somewhere where I'm feeling it was Sanchez.
that was more of like a lot of wares. But all right, let's talk about the game within itself, man. How do we line up today? We line up with a 4-3-3 that turned into like a 4-1-4-1, something like that.
Yeah.
And we had the lineup that we saw close in the first game, but with Montes added to there. So we had Sanchez on the right, Montes, Vasquez, and Gallardo on the left. Edson Alvarez in the middle with Antuna on the right, Luis Romo in the middle right, Luis Chavez in the middle left, Orbelín Pineda on all the way to the left, and then Henry Martin at the top.
Yeah, it was exactly what we were expecting.
Yeah.
It was the team that beat Haiti and Honduras, so that's as good as it can get with this team.
Yeah.
So,
which if you guys listen to the preview, you guys know that we kind of expected this lineup to come out today.
Yeah. So we begin playing and you can feel the teams is not working like clockwork. There's a lot of sand in the gears. Henry Martin made a lot of bad receptions. Even though the passes weren't perfect, he made a lot of bad receptions. Antuna wasn't... how can I say it without sounding mean? I mean, he was worse than regular on his end product, in his passing and shooting. So, still, even though we're talking about everything that the national team did bad, and Orbelín was really quiet the first half, Sanchez was playing way too forward and leaving space behind, Costa Rica played really well. This is probably the best Costa Rica played on this Gold Cup, which is what they usually do. They come here just to play their best game against Mexico. That's what they do.
Yeah, and I feel like today that wasn't the case. I felt very safe, to be honest, too, against this Costa Rica at all times. Not just because our defense looked like, besides Sanchez, not just because our center backs were very sturdy, also because they didn't really look very dangerous, throughout the game. You spoke about Antuna, how his end product lacked a little more today. 0 of 6 crosses today for him.
Yeah, The Jurgen Damm special.
Yeah, 2 out of 4 dribbles, compared to Aurelien, who had 7 out of 10 dribbles actually. Like he was moving the ball. I think his end product lagged too, but he was moving the ball around a little bit, I feel.
Yeah, but that was mostly on the second half. That's when it began. I mean, Jimmy made some little changes that worked, so that's the difference. Still, I keep saying, I keep seeing things I don't like with Jimmy Lozano. I don't like that he's waiting so late to make changes. Yeah, I mean, the substitution again in the 65th minute or something like that.
Yeah, that was
But
pretty
also, yeah, he doesn't change the setup. Yeah, okay, he changes a little. Okay, instead of attacking the wing, you now attack the inside. That kind of changes he does.
In the
But
70th minute came the change.
70th.
70th.
Even later than I thought. But still, he could have put Romo as a 10. You know, it's not that different to where he plays on Monterrey. He can play as a 10. And he never did that kind of change. So there's some things that Jimmy, I think, feels like not brave enough to me. I don't know how to call it.
So what do you think it was a problem? Like, for example, do you think there was just too much congestion at the top? Because you had those 2 8s that were like all the way at the top. And then you had, that problem with Antuna and Sanchez were kind of like giving us a lot on that right side. Do you think it was a lot of congestion, or what do you think was the main problem here?
The problem, I feel, is not that it gets congested up top. It's the wings get overcrowded.
Okay.
Example, I was watching it on 2DN, and La Volpe was saying, "Oh, you have Antuna who plays to the space. Like he can run, he can dribble past someone, but he's not like a Brazilian player, like someone that can dribble in tight spaces. That's not Antuna. So if you put Sanchez behind him, or close to him, he's gonna drag a defender and close the spaces and force Antuna to do something that he's not well suited for. So why are you making Sanchez get close to Antuna if that's not his strength?" That's what he was saying, and that's what I keep feeling, especially on the right, because that's where most of the game for Mexico always plays. Like where's Antuna, where's Sanchez, and whoever is the 8 on that side. So right now was Romo, Sanchez, and Antuna, and sometimes even Henry in that quadrant of the field. The top right.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing there Mexico. Every player is there, and there's a lot of dead space on the box, on the actual box of Costa Rica. So you can hurt them like that.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. Like there was just not enough people like looking for the box. But other than that, like more tactic versions. Like, is there anything else you want to talk about before we head on to the next topic?
I wish Jimmy Lozano tried a 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1. Like Tata tried a couple times.
Yeah, and Tata. Martino really tried to change his midfield. The 3 players, sometimes he put one way up top and sometimes way behind. Sometimes Edson was playing among the center backs, and sometimes who could you say, Cordova, or sometimes even Orbelin was playing behind the striker. So that's what little change Tata actually made.
Yeah.
I wish.
And the big change that would also happen would be that Tata's 4-2-3-1 was a possession 4-2-3-1. Jimmy's looks like he was a little more aggressive. Do you think that probably a little more offensive then? You think it would be the bigger difference?
And that's a really good point. Lozano is actually super direct. He doesn't want just the possession for possession's sake. He's not from Barcelona, even Tata Martino's Barcelona, that always wants possession. He said, no, I don't care if you have the ball, just attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I like that, but still, I would really like more like the positional play to be a little bit better.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting maybe for them to try that formation at some point. in this Gold Cup. Maybe we could see it. But other than that, all right. Your favorite player today, best player.
I mean, Orbelin played really well, especially on the second half. Alvarado played like 7 minutes, and they were great 7 minutes. But I'm gonna say both center backs, Montes and Johan.
Yeah, I was gonna say Johan Vázquez specifically because I mean, if we look at his numbers right now, if you guys follow our podcast, we talk a lot about him when he's in Genoa, when he was in Cremonese. We're saying it wrong. He usually has very low percentage of passing. He finished right now higher than Montes with 92%. They both had combined 12 long balls on target. And he even ended up with one key pass also. He had a header that was on target as well, or at least close to being a goal as well, in one of the corners. So, man, I think Johan Vázquez looked great. Montes looked amazing next to him. I hope they keep them together. I hope this has to be our center back pairing, like we keep saying on this podcast when they're playing in Europe. And I'm glad they showed us that today. Like, today we know, like, we're not hating it. Like, this is it.
Yeah, the center back position is I feel safe. We have these two players that are pretty good, especially for Mexican standards. And then we have Edson Alvarez that can play there with some safety. And then Victor Guzman and Reyes aren't on the level, but not they don't suck.
They're good benches, they're good backups.
They can develop.
Yeah. Worst player?
Worst player? I mean, it was Costa Rica didn't do enough to make us look bad in a specific position. We were saying Sanchez keep making us feel like unsafe on that right.
Yeah.
But still, he didn't make a big mistake that led to something, So we'll say like maybe Romo because he kept like getting himself lost on the midfield because it was too crowded for like too many pivots playing on our 4-2-3.
I think I'm gonna stick with Sanchez because of the insecurity that he gave me. I think he did have a lot of duels won, but a lot of it was because you had Cesar Montes come help you out. You have Alvarez there helping you out as well. Which again, like I don't want to punish him for something that he didn't do, but it does make me concerned for another game. Like if we got Jamaica, we're gonna die. Like that side is gonna be like the main weakness, Like So it just doesn't make me feel very safe. Other than that, though, I think it was another one of those games where nobody looked bad. So we're back to the first and second game that we had in the Gold Cup where nobody really looked terrible. Everyone looked like pretty okay or great. And then, like, as a whole, we just needed to find that glue. You know what I mean? So I think we're still looking for the glue. Hopefully they can train a little bit more and try to find it. But other than that, do you have anything on the transfer column today?
No, not really. But before we go, because right now I don't have really any gossip. There hasn't been any, like, juicy stuff. But I want to say, how you felt about the penalty? We didn't mention that. Orbelin scored a penalty that was a foul on...
The actual penalty that was conceded, or the way he took the penalty?
No. On the fall, did you feel it was? You felt it was a penalty?
There was contact, So I think like if you want to look at the video, if you want to convince yourself that it was a penalty, you can. I think it was a gray area though. It was like, you know, I'm a believer that like you shoot. So I think Henry Martin has that muscle to kind of like absorb that hit and take the shot, and he was in a great position too. So I wish he would have taken the shot over taking the penalty. But I mean, as a striker and as somebody that hasn't scored in a while, like I understand why he took that gamble, to try to get that penalty. And it worked. So can't really fault him right now.
Yeah, I get it. And in the same, after this kind of bad game from Henry Martin and last kind of bad game from Santi Jimenez, who do you play against, Jamaica or Guatemala?
Santi Jimenez. Santi Jimenez. I just think at least you have somebody in the box. If you have Santi Jimenez, you at least have a body in there, in between the center backs. So whether he scores or not, that's a gamble you got to take. But with Henry Martin, I just like, let me look at his numbers, man. Like,
he didn't look great.
He had a one-shot block. That's it. I think Santi will get you at least a couple shots in there, whether they're off target or blocked or whatever. Like he came in and he had that header, which I know people were saying, like, I think you were saying, one of the commentators in your stream was saying, oh, if Henry Martin misses that, like, they murder him. He got to the ball. Like, it was a great header. He didn't make it in, you know. It was his first shot of the game. He had just come in the game. But that's what we're looking for. You know, if you have Santi in there, you have that danger on goal. So 100%, I want Santi in there.
What we didn't mention is he also had to keep passes and on one big chance created. So there's a little bit of,
Yeah, he has that creation to the game that Santi lacks sometimes. I think Santi is good at, like, creating a little bit of game for players, but not in the same way. Like, he's good at holding center backs back. You know, he's good at, like, kind of like making spaces.
Yeah, he creates space.
Yeah, but not the way that Henry Martin does, who actually creates chances for his players. Also, before we leave, we got a shout out to Alvarado. You know, you were talking about it a little bit, but he did come in with, like, to give 2 great balls, one to Santi and then the assist. So, I mean, that was a little great couple minutes by him, by the way.
Yeah. I really like what he did. Good for him, because he needed a win, you know.
Yeah, he needed something.
With the national team, he kept getting, like, fouled.
And Chivas is doing good, so they need all the moral he can get, right? He needs to get through in good graces, because they're doing pretty good right now. But all right, to not lengthen this much than it should be, let's go ahead and wrap it up for now. We'll see you guys for the next game. It's going to be either Jamaica or Guatemala. We will know for sure tomorrow or today when you listen to this episode. But other than that, thank you guys for listening. I am Jorge.
My name is Edgar.
You should have followed us on all social medias. We will see you on the semifinal.